You came here because deep within you know love belongs to you. Not as a wish, not as a fantasy, but as a living reality. Your specific person is not distant, not uncertain, not half-hearted. They are yours, loyal to you alone, madly in love, consumed with thoughts of you, and joyfully obsessed with being with you. Tonight I want you to discover why nothing can stand between you and the fulfillment of this desire. For when you dare to assume the feeling of already being chosen, the world itself bends to prove you right. If you want your SP loyal to you alone, listen closely. If you desire a love so deep it feels inevitable, stay with me. By the end, you will know that your SP cannot help but be madly in love with you. You are the operant power. There is no other cause, no other influence, no hidden force outside yourself directing your life. The moment you accept this truth, you stand at the threshold of transformation. For too long, you have looked outward to determine your worth, your relationships, your place in this vast world. You have waited for signs, for approval, for circumstances to change before you believe yourself loved. Yet the law is simple. What you assume within, you live without. There is no exception. Your specific person belongs to you because you dare to assume it so. Consider this. If all the world is but yourself pushed out, then every look, every word, every act you receive is only the echo of what you first whispered in the deep of imagination. If you persist in whispering lack, you will hear rejection. If you persist in whispering doubt, you will see distance. But if you clothe yourself in certainty, if you wear the feeling of being chosen, adored, and desired, the whole world rushes to confirm your assumption. That is the law. You need not chase. You need not beg. You need not force. You are not at the mercy of another's mind. They cannot resist what you assume of them, for they are compelled to mirror your inner conviction. The only question is, what are you daring to assume right now? For assumption is not daydreaming. It is possession. It is claiming as true that which the senses deny. And the senses will bow, for they are but servants of the unseen. Do not measure by appearances. Appearances are shadows, the aftermath of forgotten states. They tell you nothing of the living reality within. If you look upon your world and see your specific person distant or indifferent, do not be deceived. That is only the residue of old assumptions, long past their power once you withdraw belief. The moment you claim a new state, you give birth to a new future. Hold fast to that state and watch as the old crumbles and the new rises. The law works in exact proportion to your faith in it. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality, not to the evidence of the senses. When you say within yourself, "One day am mine," utterly devoted, utterly in love with me, and when you refuse to be swayed by contrary facts, you stand as the mass of creation. In that inner certainty, the bond is already forged. There is no rivalry, no possibility of loss, for you have assumed the end, union. Imagine now not as one longing, but as one possessing. Feel the warmth of their hand in yours. Hear the softness of their voice as they speak your name. See the light in their eyes when they look at you, not as one among many, but as the only one. Let that vision sink into the depths of being until it feels more natural than the very chair upon which you sit. For imagination, once accepted, is the only reality. And let me remind you, it matters not what they seem to think today. Thought is but surface. What governs thought is assumption. Change your assumption, and their thought bends. Change your inner conviction, and their heart yields. There is no resistance, for no one has ever resisted the power of imagination. They may appear stubborn, they may appear cold, but even now their secret self is bending to your decree, for it has no choice but to echo the command of the image you hold. You are not asking for what is not yours. You are reclaiming what has always been yours. The bond you seek already exists within. It is eternal. What you call desire is nothing but the awareness of what is already true. Why else would you long for it? Longing is memory, the soul remembering what is. So instead of aching, assume. Instead of hoping, claim. Instead of waiting, live as though it were already finished. For in truth it is. The law cannot fail you. The only failure is in abandoning your assumption, in turning back to the evidence of the senses and calling that reality. But if you remain steadfast, if you live in the state of already being loved, already being cherished, then you will see the outer conform. It must. For no power exists outside of consciousness, and consciousness, clothed in assumption, is creation itself. So tonight, dare to take the inner claim. Walk as though you are already the beloved. Speak as though you are already adored. Think from the state of being the chosen one. Refuse every thought of rivalry, every suggestion of rejection, every whisper of fear. They are shadows and you are the light, and the light commands all things to align with its radiance. Your specific person is yours alone because you dare to believe it. Loyal because you have assumed loyalty. In love because you have assumed love. Obsessed because you have assumed obsession. You are the beginning and the end of all things concerning you. Nothing is withheld, nothing is denied when you stand boldly in the assumption of already having received. For assumption, once persisted in, hardens into fact, and fact cannot help but appear in the drama of your life. For when the mind is trained to claim its desire within, the outer world begins its silent rearrangement. Yet most fail not because the law is weak, but because they measure their claim against appearances and surrender to doubt. They live in two worlds. LDS, the inner world of imagination where they briefly touch their desire, and the outer world of facts where they bow down in fear. But truth cannot serve two masters. You must choose this day whom you will believe, the whispers of your imagination or the evidence of the senses. One leads to freedom, the other to bondage. When you dare to hold your inner claim above the voices of contradiction, you discover that appearances are powerless. They shout, but they have no strength. They mock, but they cannot endure. What endures is what you feed with feeling. If, in the quiet of night, you see yourself cherished, you hear the words of devotion, you feel the nearness of your beloved, then that unseen world is more solid than stone, and though morning may bring doubts, persist. Though the phone may remain silent, persist. Though old memories rise to taunt you, persist. For persistence is the proof of your faith, and faith reshapes the whole fabric of reality. Your specific person cannot stand outside the law. They are drawn, compelled, and bound by the picture you carry within. Their loyalty, their desire, their very thoughts are threads woven into the tapestry of your assumption. When you waver, the pattern distorts. When you remain steadfast, the pattern holds unbreakable. Do not think for a moment that your inner claim is a mere thought floating in the void. It is the command of creation itself. The unseen self of your beloved receives it and acts in perfect obedience, though their waking mind may not understand why. They simply feel moved, pulled, magnetized toward you, for they must mirror the state you have chosen. Consider the simple difference between hope and assumption. Hope longs but leaves the outcome uncertain. Assumption claims and rests in certainty. Hope asks, "Oh, they love me?" Assumption declares, "One, they already do." The one waits, the other creates. The one trembles, the other rests. Which shall you choose? For your inner choice determines the life you live. When you choose assumption, you place your desire beyond the reach of doubt. You live as though it were already accomplished, and so it must be. Let us make this real. Imagine tonight you are slipping into bed, and instead of replaying the old scenes of neglect, you close your eyes and see yourself embraced. You feel the weight of their arm around you, the warmth of their breath, the certainty of their presence. You lie there not as one wishing, but as one remembering. You let the feeling of being wanted fill you until it is more natural than loneliness, more familiar than fear. And as you drift into sleep with this assumption, you have planted the seed. Sleep carries it into the depths of the subconscious, where it must take root and bear fruit. Now, when morning comes and appearances contradict you, when the phone remains still or words seem cold, resist the temptation to abandon your inner claim. That is the old shadow playing its last part. Stand firm, say within you, "Self, know They are mine, loyal and loving, for I have assumed it. In that moment, you are not deceiving yourself. You are refusing to be deceived by the senses, for the senses show only the past, while assumption reveals the future. And the future, clothed in persistence, rushes to meet you. Your SP may appear indifferent, but beneath the surface, the inner man has already received the command. They begin to feel restless, moved, compelled by emotions they cannot explain. They think of you in quiet moments. They dream of you. They find themselves drawn back again and again. This is no accident. This is the direct consequence of your refusal to doubt. The inner claim becomes the outer compulsion. And what you once chased now chases you, for it cannot resist the image impressed upon it. Do you see now why appearances mean nothing? They are the smoke, not the fire. They are the echo, not the voice. When you stop giving them power, they fade. When you refuse to be swayed, they yield. And soon the outer must echo the inner so clearly that even the senses are forced to bow. This is the victory of assumption over doubt, the triumph of imagination over circumstance. So live each moment as though the matter were already settled. Speak inwardly as one adored, walk as one chosen, think as one beloved. And when doubt whispers, silence it with certainty. Tell yourself again and again, this is done. They are mine. And soon what you once affirmed in secret will stand before you in the light of day, undeniable and complete. For the inner claim is always stronger than the outer doubt. And when held with persistence, it remakes the world in its own image. For in this inner certainty, loyalty is no longer something you beg for, nor is it a condition you hope to one day receive. It becomes the natural outpouring of the state you occupy. When you see yourself as the one and only, when you dwell in the conviction that you are chosen above all others, then loyalty flows to you as effortlessly as breath. It is not forced. It is not demanded. It is not guarded by suspicion. It arises because you have assumed it to be the only possible expression of your union. Many suffer because they look outward for proof of loyalty. They watch every word, measure every glance, and weigh every action of their specific person, trembling at the thought that they may lose them. Yet in doing so, they betray their own inner state. For to watch with fear is to assume betrayal. To expect disloyalty is to plant the seed of it within the subconscious, and what is planted must be reaped. Do not look outward for what must first be claimed inwardly. All loyalty begins in imagination. Think of it this way. If you place yourself in the position of the one deeply loved, then there is no question of rivals. There is no thought of competition. The idea of losing them never crosses your mind, for within you, they are already bound to you with cords that cannot be broken. And because that conviction is alive within, the world outside must mirror it. Your SP finds themselves drawn again and again only to you. They cannot explain why others fade into shadows. They only know that you alone hold their heart. This is the power of assuming loyalty. You must learn to rise above appearances of betrayal or indifference. If you see something that seems one they love, I am the one they choose. I am the one they are loyal to forever. Let that conviction saturate every corner of your being until loyalty becomes the only story you know. And soon the world will tell you the same story in return, not because you demanded it, but because you lived it first within. For love itself is not something discovered in the outer world, waiting to be given to you like a gift withheld until you prove yourself worthy. Love is born in the inner chamber of imagination, and only when you dare to assume its presence within do you find it reflected back in the eyes of another. To be madly in love is not first their act toward you, it is your act within yourself. You clothe yourself in the feeling of being the adored one, and soon the drama of life must unfold to prove it so. Love begins with you. The moment you claim yourself to be loved, cherished, and desired, you awaken the force that draws every circumstance into alignment with that claim. You no longer sit as one hoping that affection will come. You no longer wait anxiously for signs or tokens. Instead, you rest in the joy of being already adored. From that rest, the whole world bends to affirm your inner conviction. Your SP cannot help but feel what you have dared to embody, for they are not separate from you. They are part of the self you project. And what does it mean to be madly in love? It is not a timid affection, fragile and uncertain. It is an overwhelming force that consumes the heart and mind, leaving no space for doubt, no room for another. When you assume that you are the object of such passion, you awaken that very passion within them. You do not question if they feel it. You declare that they do. You walk as though it is already true. You hear the words of devotion before they are spoken. You feel the embrace before it comes. In your inner world, the flame already burns. Think not that this is fantasy. Fantasy longs but doubts. Assumption knows and rests. When you sit in silence and imagine their voice trembling with love as they say your name, when you feel the joy of being desired beyond measure, you have already planted the seed. That seed is reality. The senses may not yet confirm it, but reality does not depend on appearances. Appearances bend to reality, and the reality is the state you dare to occupy. Do not allow the mind to wander into fear. Fear is the thief of love. It whispers, what if they do not care? What if their heart is elsewhere? Cast it aside. Replace every shadow with light. Each time fear rises, answer it with certainty. They are madly in love with me. They cannot resist me. Their every thought is filled with me. Say it, feel it, live it until it becomes the only truth in your world. And soon it will be the only truth in theirs. When you live in the end of being passionately loved, you carry yourself differently. You speak with confidence. You move with grace. You radiate an energy that commands attention. This inner transformation cannot be hidden. It shines through your eyes. It colors your voice. It shapes your presence. And your SP, encountering this transformed self, finds themselves drawn irresistibly to you. They may not understand the change, but they cannot deny it. The magnetism of love assumed within becomes a living force without. Let me remind you, love is not earned. You need not struggle. You need not compete. You need not persuade. You only need to embody the state of being loved. Once you claim it, the drama unfolds. Once you assume it, the world responds. Your SP begins to think of you not as an option, but as the center of their existence. They crave your presence. They yearn for your voice. They hunger for your touch. They are compelled not by outer persuasion, but by the inner image you have held unwaveringly. So tonight, as you close your eyes, do not replay the old story of distance or indifference. Create a new story. See them before you, eyes burning with affection, arms reaching to hold you. Hear them declare their love with such intensity that it leaves no space for doubt. Feel yourself already theirs, bound in passion that no circumstance can break. Let this vision sink into the depths of your being and let it live there as the only reality. And when the day comes, when you walk through the ordinary moments of life, carry that inner flame with you. Do not seek evidence outside. Do not measure by appearances. Simply know that the love you assumed is alive and active. Know that it is shaping conversations, influencing thoughts, directing actions. Know that your SP is already caught in the current of this passion, moving steadily toward the expression of what you have already accepted as true. To be madly in love is not a dream for tomorrow. It is the state you embody now. The outer must follow. It cannot resist the pull of imagination once it is felt with conviction. Persist in this inner love, and you will see it blaze forth in the outer world with such clarity that even the doubters will bow before its reality. For love, once assumed, becomes the ruling power of your experience, and none can escape its dominion. And this passion, once set aflame within, does not remain a gentle spark, but grows into an irresistible compulsion. For what is impressed upon the subconscious mind is not idle fancy. It is law. The subconscious accepts without argument, acts without hesitation, and expresses without delay. When you impress upon it the truth that your specific person is consumed by you, loyal to you, and obsessed with you, it begins to outpicture that reality with a precision no human reasoning can explain. They think of you in quiet moments. They dream of you in sleep. They find themselves unable to turn away, for they are moved by a power deeper than conscious choice. Do not mistake this for chance. Obsession is not born by accident. It is the inevitable consequence of your persistence in assumption. Every time you rehearse within your imagination the scenes of being desired, every time you accept as fact the image of being adored, you are stamping that truth into the depths of your being. And once stamped, it must rise. The outer world, the very actions of your SP, become servants of the inner decree. They cannot resist you because you have claimed them as yours in the only place that matters, within. Many say, but how can I make them obsessed with me? How can I ensure their every thought is of me? You do not make it so through effort or struggle. You allow it by assuming it is already done. You live as though it were the most natural thing in the world. You say to yourself, of course they think of me. Of course they desire me. Of course they cannot go a day without me. You let these inner affirmations become the background music of your mind. And soon they play out in the world, for the subconscious has no choice but to express what it has received. You must also understand that obsession is not fear-driven possession. It is not rooted in lack or insecurity. It is the natural overflow of love when assumed with certainty. When you dwell in the state of being the only one, when you feel the warmth of their loyalty and the fire of their love, obsession is born not of desperation, but of fulfillment. It is the irresistible pull of one soul to another, created by the conviction that there is no rival, no substitute, no alternative. You alone are the answer to their longing, and so their mind, heart, and actions revolve around you without effort. Picture this clearly. You walk through the day not as one unnoticed, but as one whose presence lingers even in absence. You imagine them glancing at their phone, waiting for your message, or replaying your words in their mind. You feel the certainty that they are thinking of you while you go about your tasks. This is not fantasy. This is creation. And because the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is outwardly seen, it accepts your inner scene as fact. From that moment, it begins its silent work, drawing your SP closer, stirring feelings, arranging circumstances until the obsession you claimed within becomes undeniable without. And what happens when doubts rise? For they will attempt to. The mind will whisper, what if they do not feel this way? What if I am imagining too much? Cast those whispers aside. Remind yourself, imagination is the only reality. If you have dared to feel it, if you have clothed yourself in the state of being the one they cannot live without, then it is already accomplished. The subconscious has received its instruction, and nothing can prevent its fulfillment. Doubt is powerless unless you give it power. You must be relentless in this inner persistence. Not restless, not anxious, but steadfast. Relentless in holding the inner picture until it feels more real than any contrary fact. Relentless in affirming that you are the one they crave, the one they adore, the one they cannot resist. Let this inner conviction saturate you so deeply that it becomes second nature. And then watch as the world begins to echo your inner truth. Conversations shifting, gestures changing, circumstances aligning until the obsession you assumed is visible in every word and act of your SP. Remember, obsession is not created by effort in the outer world. It is not born from endless pursuit or desperate pleading. It flows naturally from the inner state. The more calmly and firmly you assume their devotion, the more powerful the outer expression becomes. You need only rest in the certainty that it is already done. For what is impressed must be expressed. This is law. So let the image of their obsession fill you tonight. See them restless without you. Hear them speak of how they cannot stop thinking of you. Feel their constant need to be near you. Let this inner drama be so vivid that you smile at its reality. And when you open your eyes, carry that certainty with you. Do not look for signs, for the sign is already within you. Live in the knowledge that your SP is consumed with love for you, and soon the world will reveal what you have already created in imagination. For once you have impressed upon the subconscious the certainty of being the one they cannot resist, you must now learn to live fully in the end of your desire. Living in the end does not mean longing for what might one day be. It means stepping into the feeling of it already fulfilled. It is carrying yourself as though the relationship is not a hope but a fact, as though your SP is not approaching but already here, loyal, madly in love, and joyfully devoted. This is where most falter, for they look at the outer world and see a contradiction. They see absence and declare absence to be truth. Yet the outer is nothing but a delayed reflection of inner states. If you live in the end must soon appear. If you live in longing, longing is all that you will ever know. The difference is not in effort, but in assumption. You must assume that the wish is already granted, that your SP is already yours, and then walk each day as though this were the most natural thing in the world. Living in the end is not about forcing yourself to pretend outwardly. It is not about chasing them, nor is it about acting in desperation. It is an inner posture, a secret dwelling place where you return again and again to the truth of already being loved. You carry that truth in silence, and because it is alive within you, it radiates outward. Others will sense the change in you. Your SP will feel it, even without words, for no one can resist the vibration of a state consistently lived in. Imagine now what life feels like when the end is already accomplished. See yourself with them, not in the future, but in the now. Feel the ease of their presence, the joy of their loyalty, the sweetness of their devotion. Move through the scenes of life, walking together, laughing, sharing. Quiet moments until these scenes feel more real to you than the loneliness of the past. For imagination, once accepted, becomes memory, and memory dictates experience. If you treat the end as though it were already a memory, then soon it must become your living reality. Every moment you dwell in the state of already being cherished, you are rewriting the script of your world. Old patterns fade, old doubts dissolve, and new patterns emerge. Conversations begin to shift, opportunities appear, and circumstances conspire to bring about the fulfillment of what you have assumed. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are changing the world by refusing to abandon the end. Think of living in the end as a great secret that no one else can touch. Outwardly, you may appear unchanged. You go about your day as usual, but inwardly, you are walking in the certainty of love fulfilled. You hear the words of devotion in the quiet of your mind, and you feel the embrace of your SP in the silence of your heart. This secret dwelling place is the workshop of creation. It does not matter what the world sees now, for the world will soon see what you have already seen within. The temptation, of course, is to slip back into waiting, to say, when they call, then I will feel chosen. When they come, then I will feel loved. But such a posture only delays the fulfillment. You must reverse it. Feel chosen now, and they will call. Feel loved now, and they will come. Feel secure now, and they will remain. The inner state always precedes the outer expression. Living in the end also frees you from the grasp of fear. Fear thrives on uncertainty, but when you have already claimed the end, what is left to fear? You no longer wonder, will they stay? For you know they are yours. You no longer question, will they choose me? For you know you are the only choice. This certainty is not arrogance, it is faith. It is the quiet confidence that imagination creates reality and that you have already imagined well. So let the world say what it will. Let appearances contradict. Let time seem to stretch. None of these matter, for you are living in the end. And when you live in the end long enough, the bridge of incidents unfolds. The world arranges itself with perfect precision, leading you step by step into the outward expression of what you have already claimed within. You may not see the path, but you will see the result. And when it comes, it will feel so natural, so inevitable, that you will scarcely remember a time when it was not so. Carry yourself then as one already secure in love. Think from the state of being adored. Move from the state of being chosen. Rest in the state of being the only one. This inner living is the cause, the outer world is but the effect. Live it within, and the world without has no choice but to bow. And yet all of this rests upon one foundation alone, the unwavering faith that what you have assumed is already true. Without this faith, the mind drifts like a ship without anchor, tossed between hope and doubt, between desire and despair. But with faith, you become immovable. No wind of circumstance, no storm of appearance, no whisper of fear can shake you. For faith is not mere belief, it is loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the steadfast refusal to let go of the end you have claimed, no matter what the senses shout or the world presents. Faith is the unseen hand that holds your world together. It is the power that keeps you walking as the beloved, when no word of devotion has yet been spoken. It is the strength that allows you to rest in loyalty when appearances suggest betrayal. It is the certainty that sustains you in the conviction of being passionately desired when the outer world has not yet revealed it. With faith, you live in the assurance that obsession has already taken root in the heart of your SP, that their thoughts cannot escape you, that their life is already intertwined with yours. Do not think of faith as something to strain after. It is not effort, it is surrender. It is yielding completely to the reality of your assumption until it feels so natural that you no longer question it. You do not wake each day wondering if gravity will hold you to the earth. You simply live in the certainty of it. In the same way, you must come to live in the certainty of your desire fulfilled. Let it be as unquestioned as the rising of the sun. That is faith. And how is this faith built? By persistence. Every time you choose the inner claim over the outer contradiction, you strengthen faith. Every time you affirm the loyalty, the love, the obsession of your SP instead of yielding to doubt, you deepen faith. Every time you imagine the end with feeling and rest in it as already true, you grow faith until it becomes unshakable. This faith, once solidified, creates a world that bends and shapes itself to reflect your conviction. The outer world may tempt you to falter. It may present silence, distance, or indifference. But if you remain loyal to your inner state, those shadows must dissolve. They cannot endure in the presence of sustained faith. They are but the remnants of old assumptions. And when you refuse to revive them, they pass away. Then the new assumption, clothed in faith, takes its place in the drama of life. Think of the gardener who plants a seed. He does not dig it up each morning to check its progress. He waters it, tends the soil, and waits in confidence, knowing that growth is inevitable. So it is with your assumptions. Once you have planted the seed of being loved, of being chosen, of being the one your SP cannot resist, you must water it with persistence and protect it with faith. If you doubt and dig it up with fear, you delay its growth. But if you rest in certainty, the harvest is sure. Faith is also the refusal to accept half measures. You do not settle for scraps of attention, for fleeting words, for partial affection. You stand firm in the knowledge, that you are worthy of the fullness of love, loyalty, and devotion, and because you have claimed it within, you will not compromise without. This unwavering certainty creates the conditions where your SP has no choice but to rise to meet the image you hold. They become loyal because you have assumed it. They become madly in love because you have lived in it. They become obsessed because you have persisted in faith until it hardened into fact. So walk with the quiet dignity of one who knows the end is secure. Let others doubt. Let appearances mock. Let time seem to stretch. None of it matters. Faith does not waver at shadows. Faith does not bow to delay. Faith does not surrender to appearances. Faith holds to the unseen reality until it is seen. And when it is seen, it appears so natural, so inevitable, that you will scarcely recall a time when it was not so. Do not look for signs. Do not wait anxiously for proof. The only proof you need is within, the feeling of already being what you desire to be. Hold to that, and the world will conform. For faith is the bridge between imagination and reality, between assumption and expression, between desire and fulfillment. And when you stand firm upon it, nothing can prevent the outer world from reflecting the love, loyalty, and devotion you have already claimed within. When you understand that imagination is the root of all reality, You no longer chase love, you embody it. Your SP is not outside of you, they are already within your assumption, already loyal, already madly in love, already obsessed with you. By persisting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you allow the unseen to take shape and the invisible to become visible. Hold firm, live in the end, and the world will mirror your inner conviction. Thank you for staying until the very end of this journey. Your presence here proves that you are ready to claim the love that belongs to you. If this message touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe so others may also awaken to their power. Together, let us continue to live from the end and create the life and love we deserve.